Hello, and welcome to my full review of Night 2 of WWE SummerSlam 2025. I'm just going to go right out the gate and say, for the most part, for 99% of the show, this was much better than Night 1. Night 1 was fine, but felt a bit underwhelming. Night 2, for the most part, really delivered. Starting with the opening match for the Women's World Championship, the triple threat, Naomi successfully defended against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. Kind of a similar finish to the Becky Bayley Lyra triple threat that was recent. Was that at Evolution? Or just before Evolution? I think it was at Evolution, right? So similar finish where Rhea hit the Riptide on Io and had the pin, the Rhea pin, where she does her thing to them. But then Naomi came up behind Rhea and schoolboyed her, and then pulled on the tights and picked up the win. Predicted that 1 from 1, hell yeah. But also glad that Naomi retained, because it's a first defense of the title, and she deserves a decent run with the belt, in my opinion. She's done an excellent job of reinventing herself. She got the special entrance at SummerSlam last night, with her dad playing guitar for her theme on the way to the ring, which is pretty cool. And yeah, I hope she gets a decent several-month run with the belt, with plenty of successful defenses, because she definitely deserves it. Them getting that close to Rhea beating Io keeps that story alive. I think probably both of them move away from the title picture now and just sort of focus on each other, and it'll be really nice if WWE actually have a women's feud not revolving around a belt, because usually they revolve around a belt. They have done it before people start giving examples, but if you can get into double figures of examples, I'll be quite impressed off the top of your head. And even if you can, my counterpoint will still be, okay, let's list men's feuds, not over a belt. That's one of the main things missing, I think, from WWE's, and just wrestling in general in mixed companies, not including female-only promotions for obvious reasons, but in mixed promotions, that's what's missing from professional wrestling in general, in my opinion, to make women feel equal to the men. They got 16 minutes 20 seconds, by the way, which is longer than either women's match last night. The women were much better represented on this show. Still only 2 of the 6 matches, but they got a lot more time. In fact, the women's matches were the second and third longest on the show, which, great, good stuff. That was one of my complaints about Night 1, was that the women got 20 minutes total out of that entire show. Yeah, so this was much better. Like I say, really good match, correct result. I'm a big fan of all 3 of these women, but in my opinion, Naomi winning was definitely the right result. And it's the one I predicted, so bonus points. Up next was the TLC match, which was just wild. I'd love to go through what happened in that match, but so much. Just if you're looking for a match to watch where you don't have to be too familiar with what's going on, say you've not watched WWE for a while, but you fancy watching a fun recent match, this would do it. This would do it. Absolute car crash TV. Massive spots everywhere. People falling off ladders through tables, falling off ladders through ladders. Shout out Candice LeRae. Hope she's doing okay, because wow, what a bump she took. Again, not going to do a play-by-play, but that one needed a mention. Wow. What a bump. The Wyatt Six ended up winning and retaining the titles when Joe Gacy climbed the ladder and pulled down the stupid coat hanger thing they have nowadays. I predicted Fraxium. Kind of went out on a limb. I did say in my predictions video that I could definitely see the Wyatt Six retaining, because they've not been champions for very long. But this felt like a good opportunity to take the belts off them without them losing, if that made sense. So I decided to go with a challenger. But yeah, I absolutely could have seen the Wyatt Six winning coming. I think I did say in the predictions video that that's also a very likely result. And they did. But I don't get any points for saying, oh, hedging my bets, maybe it'll be this team as well, though. Like, nope, nil point, 1 out of 2. That match went exactly 16 minutes, shorter than a triple threat match, which kind of surprises me. Not because it felt a lot longer, but just because there was so much carnage and chaos in it. You almost feel like it had to be longer. But yeah, not as long, but very, very fun match. Up next, Becky Lynch defeated Lyra Valkyria to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Basically because of Bayley, but not intentionally because of Bayley. Like, Bayley did nothing wrong. She tried to save Lyra when she was in a lot of trouble. She was zip-tied, and Becky had a crowbar, and Bayley came out and interfered. And then Becky tried to be like, Bayley, she's the enemy. You wanna turn to the dark side, and Bayley didn't. Bayley beat up Becky for a bit, then got dumped into the crowd, and then when she came back, she had like a chain, and she swung at Becky, but hit Lyra, and then I think for some reason stumbled on the apron. Like, that bit was a bit clunky, the fact that she just hit someone, but then was stuck on the apron for like the duration of the time it takes to do a manhandle slam and get a 3 count. When she could have just broken it up. It was no disqualification. But details. I get what they were going for with the finish. Becky retains. Lyra can no longer challenge for the Intercontinental Championship as long as Becky is champion. And that's what I predicted. So 2 out of 3. Good enough for Meatloaf. It's good enough for me. This match went 25 minutes and 5 seconds. Like, the second longest match on the card by some distance. The next one was the Women's Triple Threat, which was nearly 10 minutes shorter. So yeah, lots of time to breathe on this one. Really good match. Becky and Lyra, they've just got it. Like, they've just got that chemistry. They don't have bad matches. They really don't. Like, they've had absolute bangers throughout this feud, and even when it was Becky and Lyra for the NXT Women's title way back when. Yeah, just great stuff. Really big fan. Very good match. Very, very good match. Up next was, surprisingly to me, not the shortest match on the show. I guess both of these next 2 matches felt kind of short. In 12 minutes 40, Solo Sikoa retained the United States Championship against Jacob Fatu, because steel cage matches keep interference out, guys. Like, I don't know how long WWE are going to insist on insulting our intelligence with this trope. But like, if you really wanted a steel cage match to keep outside interference out, you'd put a roof on the cage and no door, and you just drop it down and they're trapped in it until the match ends. Like, that's it. There's no way in. Like, that's all you have to do. Basically Hell in a Cell, but hug the ring. Smaller Hell in a Cell, basically. But they don't. They keep leaving the top open, and they keep being surprised when people interfere. It's crazy. But yeah, I predicted this as well. I feel like... So my only problem with how this all went down was it very much feels like we're going to continue the Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sikoa feud, and versus the MFTs in general feud. And I think it would have been much better to end this a bit more conclusively somehow, and have Fatu be able to move on. I mean, who's to say on SmackDown Fatu might have no interest in keep fighting Solo and might completely move on. It doesn't really fit with what we know about his character at the moment, but yeah. The reason I predicted Solo to win, even though I think a lot of people were looking at Jacob Fatu as a potential winner, was because winning the title back doesn't really do anything for Jacob, in my opinion. He's kind of already above that belt. Whereas Solo, losing the belt does him a lot of harm, and keeping it, therefore, does him a lot of good in preventing that harm. So, yeah, I thought it was a much better decision to keep the title on Solo. After the match, which Solo won by escaping through the door, because they've not learned anything from Jesse Ventura on Saturday night's main event. After the match, the MFTs were still in the ring, I think, except Tala Tonga. I think he was outside with Solo. But JC Mateo and Tonga Loa got taken out with a top of cage moonsault by Jacob Fatu, which was a really cool spectacle to see. I kind of hope they just drop this feud now, honestly. It'll feel a bit like it just stopped dead. But I think it's... Excuse me. I think it's ready to be perfectly honest. Next match, 10 minutes 45. This was a lot of fun. Not going to lie. This was a lot of fun. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Dominic Mysterio retained the Intercontinental Championship against AJ Styles. Both men paying homage to Eddie. Well, to the Eddie Ray match at SummerSlam 2005 specifically. AJ came out in a lowrider. He had, like, Eddie-style tights on. Yeah, it was really cool. And they did a lot of Eddie spots. Dom, when the referee was distracted by him pulling the turnbuckle pad off, hit the ring mat with a chair, then threw it to AJ and fell over. Classic Eddie. But then AJ put the chair around his head and lay down next to Dom. So when the ref turned around, they were both pretending to be unconscious, and AJ had a chair wrapped around his head. And then they started, like, they immediately recovered in comedic fashion of, like, they forget they're supposed to be acting like they're hurt and start pointing the blame at each other. It was really good fun. The match was really fun in general. Lots of callbacks. Obviously, the finish came when AJ, clearly accidentally, took the boot off Dom during the calf killer. And it was like a callback to Kurt and Eddie from WrestleMania 20. Yeah, it must have been 20. It was for the WWE title, right? That's the WrestleMania where Eddie was champ. And hugged no one in the ring at the end of the night. Yeah, so they sort of reworked that finish, and Dom won. I called it on threads. I called it Eddie Guerrero clean. Like, it wasn't clean, but he didn't get any outside interference help at all. He just outfoxed AJ Styles and beat him in quite an Eddie Guerrero fashion, which is why it's Eddie Guerrero clean. Yeah, I didn't expect no interference. I didn't expect, like, clean. Like, I'm just gonna call it. It was clean. Like, sure, was there a bit of shenanigans? Is it illegal to unzip your boot during a wrestling match? I've never seen anything suggesting that that's actually against the rules of professional wrestling. Is it illegal to wrestle the final minute, 30 seconds, whatever it was, of the match with only one boot on? I've never seen anything. We've had plenty of wrestlers that have wrestled barefoot. So, unless it's only illegal to specifically wear one boot, in which case, Zach Gowen, I'm just saying, no matter how you try and frame it, I don't think what Dom did can be construed as illegal. It was just smart, and he outsmarted AJ Styles and got the win with the frog splash. 1, 2, 3. Nice and clean. Very surprising that it went that way. I predicted Dom to win, so the result wasn't surprising, and that put me on, 4 out of 5? I forgot to say I predicted Solo. Or did I forget to say? I don't know. But anyway, that was 3 out of 4. This is 4 out of 5 for this show, for this night. And yeah, this match was just loads of fun. The feud itself has been really fun, with AJ dressing up as a janitor and a doctor and a valet and whatever to stalk Dom. Been very funny, while Dom's been not medically cleared. And then the match was equally fun. Yeah, no notes. Very, very good. Like, they weren't aiming for a match of the night show stealer. They were aiming for an effective partial comedy match with some lovely callbacks and shout-outs to Eddie Guerrero. Perfect. No notes. They nailed it. Now, on to the main event, the longest match by some distance of the weekend. 37 minutes, 45 seconds it took Cody Rhodes to defeat John Cena and win back the undisputed WWE Championship. So, Cena's weird babyface turn via one promo where he declared himself babyface on SmackDown seemingly was sincere in character. Like, that's it. He was just babyface Cena again tonight. Cody was leaning a bit more heelish, but I speculated while I was watching that this was more John Cena one night stand against RVD, or John Cena in Canada against Edge, or John Cena in Chicago against Punk, where it's like, you're the heel for the night. You're not turning heel, but you are. We all know what the crowd's going to do here, so you're the heel for the night. It felt a bit like that, and also it felt like it made sense for Cody's story. I know, finish the story, blah, blah, blah. You can't say Cody Rhodes and story in the same sentence, but it's a different story. But it made sense for his character development that he lost the title because of hesitation. So he had to not hesitate to win it back. It's the only thing that doesn't make a lot of sense about it, honestly, is the fact that John Cena's now a face and they hugged at the start of the match. Because it's like, okay, so the lesson you learned was effectively against a different guy at this point. Like, heel John Cena 2025 and babyface John Cena are two completely different people, near enough, like, in the drastic difference in their characters. So it felt a bit weird to do it with John Cena already having turned face. I watched Stephen Larson's review of this show, and I think it was Larson brought up, probably would have just been better to do the face turn during the match, have the crowd actually get to him, and have him actually kind of hesitate and decide to do things the right way and turn face during the match. Would have made sense why Cody would still be more ruthless, kind of thing. But either way, it was a really fun match, really good street fight. Orders of magnitude better than their WrestleMania match. Like, incomparable. Like, genuinely. I mean, it's comparable. It's better. That is a comparison. But you know what I mean? It's night and day, the difference between those two matches. They really pulled out all the stops here. This started to keep stealing analysis from Stephen Larson, but one of them said this felt like the match Cena cared the most about. The one where he loses his final title was like the big one for him. And I kind of agree. This felt like the crescendo, and then there'll probably be another one at the rumored named after Cena show at the end of the year where he has his final match. That, like, they'll probably be the two peaks, if you like. But this one really stood out. Really good match. And nothing else happened. And it was a great show. And everyone had a lovely time. This match was head and shoulders above night one. This night, I think I said match, but this night was head and shoulders above night one. Unfortunately, I don't get to say that because Cody left Cena to celebrate in the ring. And then Brock Lesnar's music hit. And the crowd popped, because that's what the crowd does when they hear music they've not heard for a long time, and it's a big surprise, and there's been no rumours. It was pretty quiet after Lesnar had done his stuff to Cena and was leaving. There wasn't like still an ongoing crowd reaction. There wasn't still a lot of people sounding a lot excited. I know that wrestling is an escape. It is for me too, a lot of the time. I have watched WWE since 1999, pretty consistently throughout. Like, you know, I drift in and out of like how consistent I am, but I always at least keep up with the goings on, and I've been pretty consistent with actually watching it basically since the WWE Network came out, and I've had little to no excuse to not watch the pay-per-views and premium live events at the bare minimum. So when all the stuff came out about them being very MAGA, which, by the way, if you're watching this and you're MAGA, I'm not. Go away. I don't have time. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for it, simply put. But they threw their lot in with Trump. They've been hero worshipping Hogan and just conveniently ignoring what a terrible human being he was. And it's only due to the messed up way my brain processes losing things and leaving things behind that I've not stopped watching WWE. I've enjoyed the shows. You just saw me talk glowingly about this show, because I decided when I came into this video I wasn't going to start on a downer and then try and bring the energy because it'd feel fake. Because it wasn't fake. I enjoyed this show a hell of a lot until the last, whatever it was, 5 minutes. I thought this was a really good show without the return. But then, to bring back Brock Lesnar while the Janelle Grant lawsuit is still ongoing and has been updated in, February of this year, to actually name Lesnar in it several times, dozens of times, I believe he's named in the lawsuit. Whether you personally believe Brock Lesnar is innocent or guilty, it's tone deaf. So is throwing your lot in with Trump. So is disregarding the problems with Hulk Hogan and just and milking his death. My goodness, they were always going to do it on SmackDown, the tribute thing. They did it throughout the show instead of just at the start, which was already milking it. Then they did it on Raw, then they did it on NXT, then they did it on SmackDown again, and then they've done it on 2 nights of SummerSlam, which, by the way, apparently the crowd booed the Hogan tribute screen so much on night 1 that they didn't show it to the live crowd on night 2. They only showed it to the audience at home. If someone who was at the show can confirm that, but that's what I believe to have happened. And Tempest, who, if you know your wrestling YouTube personalities, you probably know who Tempest is. He tweeted, and I only saw this because I spend no time on Twitter anymore, but someone shared it in a Discord, and he tweeted something about how cowardly WWE are for this to be the show where they stop doing the presses where they take questions from, wrestling media. This to be the show where they stop doing it, knowing full well why now, with hindsight, because they were bringing back Brock Lesnar and they did not want to field any questions about the lawsuit. They know. This is the thing. They know exactly what they're doing. And I have to give some serious thought to what I do going forward. Because again, the way my brain works, and if you don't empathize with this, and I mean the genuine definition of the word empathize as in understand, feel it yourself. If you don't empathize with this, I envy you. If you do, I would love to hear from you how you're processing this. I struggle with separation, loss, leaving things behind. I have had friends wrong me in pretty major ways. I've had romantic partners wrong me in pretty major ways. And I still miss every single one of them. And I cannot shake that. And I cannot leave them truly behind. And a similar thing happens with things I'm greatly attached to. And WWE, having been in my life for 26 years, coming up this November-ish time, is definitely in that category. And I have had conversations with people who are like, if you still watch WWE, you're kind of indirectly supporting MAGA. And I'm like, look, I have a Netflix subscription. They've already been paid by Netflix. I don't think UK viewers count anyway. But I didn't used to watch a lot of it live either, especially when I wasn't making content. I had no reason to, right? I could just watch it the next morning. So I'm like, I'm not a live viewer, so I'm not contributing to the viewer figures. I think they don't regard anything outside America anyway. I already pay Netflix and use it for other things. So I'm not, and I don't buy any merch anymore. I know I'm wearing merch, but this is old. I don't buy merch from them. I don't go to shows. Like, I'm not supporting them. I'm consciously not supporting them, but I find it hard to actually cut the card. And people don't understand that, and that's fine. Like, you can't be in my head and understand that. But yeah, this feels like I'll be honest, I desperately want to be able to cut that card at this point, because all of it was already too much. And then they're just going to keep going. They're just going to keep doing it. They don't care. The Brock return just shows they don't care. They're making money hand over fist by charging exorbitant rates for tickets these days. They brag about every show being a record breaker because the tickets are so expensive. I don't know. They just do so much. The other thing is, this is supposed to be an escape. I saw Donald Trump on both nights of SummerSlam. I had to be reminded of the state of the real world while I was watching my escape. So they're not only just not being neutral, they're flaunting it on TV. And it's becoming harder and harder to justify. But the only thing I will find harder will be to stop. And not because I have any defense for them whatsoever. Like, none. I'll miss the wrestlers I really like. Your Sami Zayns, your Baileys, your Stephanie Vickers, your Io Skys, your Rhea Ripleys, your Naomi's, the Becky Lynch's. Aliyah Valkyria's like really growing on me, considering I thought she was having a shaky start when she first won the Intercontinental title. Like, she's much more compelling now. Jacob Fatu, like Dom, AJ. I've been an AJ fan since he was in Ring of Honor. You know, like the Seth Punk thing is fascinating on Raw. Like, there's I only have the names from night 2 in front of me at the moment because of where I've got the Wikipedia page scrolled to, but and ADHD, out of mind, I struggle to pluck names out of thin air. But there's so many people that I would miss watching doing their thing that I'm invested in. But there comes a point. There comes a point where you have to think about it. So I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'd love to have a discussion if anyone's watching that has any sort of empathy towards this. Drop me a comment and let's try and solve what the hell is wrong with our brains together. But yeah, sorry to leave this on a big downer. But I had to address it. It's as soon as the music hit, like I was talking about this in a Discord. There's a Discord I'm in that was being quite active, chatting about the show. And when they were just leaving Cena in the ring, I actually put in the Discord, I put Claymore, like fingers crossed emoji. I just really wanted Drew McIntyre, by the way. There's a name that I didn't mention that I'm really invested in. Love Drew McIntyre. I was just waiting for Drew to fly in off shot into on shot and just kick Cena's face off. And, like, get Drew back to where he should be. Have him beat Cena on Cena's retirement tour and beat him down, beat him bad, you know, and give Drew some of his aura back. I was like, come on, they're setting something up. Let it be Drew. And then Brock's music hit, and I just deflated. Yeah. So, leave a like if you enjoyed this review. Sorry to be a Debbie Downer at the end there, but it's my channel. It's me. If you don't care about my thoughts about this show, there's loads of other reviews you can watch. You know, so I assume part of the reason you watch me specifically is to get my thoughts, and these are my thoughts. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new here. I don't know even what I would do on this channel without WWE. Like, obviously, I love AEW. I watch AEW. I'm happy to predict and review AEW regularly, but so much of my content on this channel in some way involves WWE that it would be a real head scratcher as to what I would do with this channel. I wouldn't want to close the channel. I love doing this channel. I love wrestling, and it doesn't really fit on any of my other channels as like just a to talk about thing. I like having a channel just for this, but what I'm going to do with it, I don't know. But the one thing I do know is I'm not closing the channel. I'm not stopping uploading to it. So do subscribe if you enjoy my stuff. It'd be greatly appreciated. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA. You've been amazing. And I'll see you next time.